This is Kenny Clark, and this is Lombardi's Bar.
This is one of my favorite podcasts to do.
I'm just, blessed and thankful to be a part of this podcast. It's a great podcast. It's a great interview.
Maybe I know that you guys, obviously being the best Packers podcast that's out there.
I had Malort this weekend, so I'm not tasting anything.
Oh, good.
He did.
God.
He did. That was fantastic.
Because it said, "Did you ever try Malort?" And I said no. And then it said, "Do you want to take a shot of Malort?" I said no, but I did.
Wait, who said
It's called
Peer
Todd.
pressure.
Yeah. I tried to get in a high honors English class once, and they called my parents and were like, "Hey, just tell him he can't do it."
It shows.
It really shows. I hate you guys so much.
I'm going to throw these two guys into the screen so that if I die, they can carry on the legacy of crap that is this show. Oh, hello, Green Bay Packer fans. How the heck are you doing? Welcome to Lombardi's Bar. I'm your bartender, Dan Connick. I hope that we have given you ample time to recover from one of the best Packer games I think I've maybe ever watched. Definitely one of the top that I've ever seen in person on Sunday. Shout out Emma in the chat. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. If you haven't done so already, take a second now. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure you get notified every time we go live for us, for any of the other shows. As you can tell, I am not fully recovered from Sunday. But let's exactly. Hey. Hold on a second. Let me bust out the new bling from this weekend. Yeah, buddy. This might just be a permanent staple in my daily routine. Let's bring in Jimmy and Todd in here and talk to them about everything Sunday. Guys.
Before you do that, could you read the name on that Super Bowl ring?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is Brett Favre, but I
unfortunately,
no surprise there. January
made the
6th,
moral
the big Favre
decision that
guy,
I am co-opting his ring for myself, and so I rationalized it that way. The only other so I bought this and this hat from a garage sale in Green Bay, and they had this one and a Super Bowl I replica ring, but it was such a bad replica. It was not good. I'm like, shit, I have to get this one.
And Favre didn't play in that one, so obviously you didn't want it. I can't support one.
I don't know what she's saying, because she was here and signed off on all decisions that I made.
If there's one thing I learned from your wife this weekend, Dan, it's that she doesn't really pay attention to you a whole lot and just kind of whatever it takes to quiet you down.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's most wives.
I meant the chain. I showed her the chain. She sat next to me the entire game while I wore the chain.
Did you take your shirt off and just go chain with no shirt?
No, I didn't.
Missed a real opportunity.
What a beta move.
Yeah,
I know. I think Joe is mad at me because I didn't respond back to him. Joe, I'm sorry. I meant to. I forgot on Twitter. That's my bad. I'm sorry, Joe. I will message you tonight, and we will talk about Ahsoka. I promise. I'll make it up to you.
You guys are gonna
what you're talking about.
But
wait, are you guys Mormons?
Do you guys want to talk? Hey, do you want to talk about the game on Sunday?
I want to talk about
Twitter. So super soaking. For the audience, how about you explain what that is, Dan? Go ahead.
What?
Soaking.
Ahsoka?
Never mind. Let's get to the game.
Yeah, come on, Andy. We did not take a picture, and that's a fail on our part. Fuck, guys.
Andy, you did nothing wrong, Dan. That's a fail on your part.
That game on Sunday. For me personally, games I've seen live, that comes second only to the 2018 home opener versus the Bears. It comes second only to that game.
Is it because it was against the Bears that you put that one higher?
I think it's because it's against the Bears. I think it was because I think it was because it was a night game. It was the 100-year anniversary. I think it was all that. But like, man, it's really hard not to put a guy's very first start at home and a fourth quarter, the biggest fourth quarter comeback in team history, right up there with that. It was really hard not to do that.
That game was just, I gave up, and then I don't know. Third quarter, I was like, okay, we could still do it. Fourth quarter hit, I was like, well, let's score was what my mentality went to. But that game was absolutely insane. Just the switch in Jordan Love in the offense to go from an absolute dud for 3 quarters to, I don't know what happened, but just picking apart the defense on these passing plays, and singling out Yadam, whatever his name is, that corner.
Got him.
Anytime he was on a receiver, it just seemed like he was singling him out. So it was fantastic, man. Hell of a game.
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay.
This is good content.
Andy, look at that. Right there. You, me, and Jesus himself. Courtesy of my wife. You can thank her for that.
I can't.
Good work, Kelsey.
She's really the second producer of the show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What is
Todd, I want to
I'm
hear.
so confused what the fuck is going on right now, dude.
What? Andy's been in the chat talking about how we didn't take a picture. Kelsey sent me the picture that we had together.
I think today's the day Todd's gonna drink again.
It would take a lot more than you two idiots being standard idiots. No, it was great. I mean, the crowd to start was electric.
Yeah.
That faded about halfway through the second quarter, until the fourth quarter, when that place, it was, the field goal didn't do much for people. That was kind of like, okay, well, they'll try.
Right.
And then
they're not going to get shut out.
After the touchdown, it was like, okay, we're right back in this. And then the place woke up and was electric again. So yeah, it was great. I loved that place was loud for Jordan's intro, which granted he came out right behind Dylan, which was that place. To hear the crowd get behind Jordan first time out, heard a few boos going into halftime though, which can we chill the fuck out for a minute on that one? Like,
yeah, brand new team, brand new quarterback, first half they've ever played at Lambeau with under Jordan Love. It's like, yeah, because I texted you too because I thought I heard it on the TV. That's absolute, yeah.
I'm assuming that was Dan and the rest of his section.
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not boo. I did not boo.
How was halftime sad for Katie? She
like
got to see me.
I'd like to ask Katie which part was the sad part. Was it, or is she talking about the booing, or is she talking about sometimes seeing the alumni that come back gets a little tough to watch. Because some of them I'm like, maybe just stay home.
Did I hear Tim Mastay? I'm pretty sure I heard his name. Get the fuck out of here. As soon as I heard that, I tuned it out.
Did they bring J.K. Scott back yet? Is he next?
But that's exactly when Todd, when you said about A.J. Dillon going right before Jordan Love, that was the first thing I thought of was like when they're like doing all the former Packers and they're like, newest Hall of Famer, Leroy Butler, Bill Schroeder. It's like,
Yeah,
God damn, guys, come on.
They should have had Jeff Janis. You know that place would have went crazy.
Aberdaris.
Yeah, for Darius, yeah.
My question,
2 games.
I don't know how this works, but is is it they invite everybody back and certain people will say yes to coming back? Because like if I was like somebody like Jordy Nelson, I would be coming to Green Bay as much as I could. Right?
Yeah, I would assume that,
Or is
you
it
kind of just have a standing invite, but also like Jordy might be coming back for a different game. There might be something else planned. Like he was just back earlier this summer, so who knows? Like,
I have zero idea how that works.
yeah. Well, I mean, let's just jump into buy around, pay a tab here, because I think that'll be the best way to break down everything going on. Let's buy around, boys. Todd, why don't you kick us off? Who you buy around for?
I'm gonna go for Joey Badass, for a defensive coordinator who got shit on last week. One, his house did not get raided by the FBI this week, which is what I really look for in a defensive coordinator.
Plus one.
First and foremost. Two, the defense played pretty damn good, especially they lost Dre early, no Ja, then they lost Valentine. Like they played a lot of that game with three corners and were still able to shut down what I don't think is a bad offense. I mean, I know like Jameis was out there. Here's the scary thing about Jameis Winston. He's going to let that thing fly.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And
he put up 5 touchdowns against us the last time he played, so it's not like he's a fucking scrub.
And they've got good wide receivers.
Yeah.
So I mean, shout out to the pass rush, mostly Rashawn Gary, just being in the backfield all day.
Yeah.
But I think for as much shit as Joe Barry takes, like I'll buy him around on this one. That was a nice performance they put up there. Only giving up 10 points in that game.
Yeah. And that game was so frustrating at times, but it drove me nuts when everyone was saying, oh, well, you guys won because Jameis Winston came into the game. Like, you can't, that one injury, yeah, he was hurt. But like you said, you just named a bunch of players that left the game for us. We were without our entire left side of the line. Like, there's injuries on both sides of the ball. It's our defense played well, and our offense finally turned it on. But like you said, the defense only gave up 10 points. The offense was not putting up long, sustainable drives a lot. And unlike against the Falcons, they kept the energy up and they played full 4 quarters. So this probably saved Joe Barry's job, which sucks because when Matt LaFleur keeps him another year, he'll probably say, remember week 3? You did pretty well, but we'll cherish it right now.
They bent as much as you can without breaking. Like, when you have to bend something back and forth, like a little piece of metal, and really get it to go, and then finally it snaps.
Yeah.
Like, if you applied any pressure, like that field goal was kicked into the end zone I was in. There was no wind until they were lining up for that. And all of a sudden some gusts just came through, which I assume was just hot air coming out of my face as I was screaming. Hey, if that's it, if that's what does it, awesome. More power to me. Put me back in those seats.
Yeah.
Emma brings up a decent point, and that's what I wanted to say. Winston was a starter for a couple years on this team, and not just this team, but worse versions of this team. This is a better version of the Saints, minus not having Alvin Kamara, than we saw 2 years ago when he put up all of those points. Yeah. I mean, you had the likes of Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Jimmy Graham going up against second, third string cornerbacks, 4-string quarterbacks almost at a certain point. Like that's still, you still have to go beat those people. It doesn't matter who's going up there. And Chris Olave was still able to get his at times, and they did a good job of limiting it. And I mean, when you think about that field goal, go back and watch it. He misses that field goal only by about like five yards, maybe. Stopping them where they did forced him to kick a longer punt, and essentially you could say forced him to kick a field goal that had a better chance of going wide. So, yeah. Jimmy, who would you like to buy around for?
I'm going with the man who finally has broken the jersey curse for me, Romeo Doubs, because he is fantastic. He leads to 3 touchdowns. He always goes for the high point of the ball. He is aggressive in the end zone. Last week he had that beautiful toe touch that him and Jordan Love made look super routine on the sideline. And then that catch this time down the left side where it just extended out of bounds toe touch. Like, he is making splash plays. When we get in the red zone, he is Jordan Love's guy. What is that, 2 fade balls to him that he's gone up and gotten? The man is
Your mom
going to be
fade balls.
the man's going to be really good. And I'm just happy that he finally broke the curse so Todd can stop telling me not to buy jerseys and I can continue to buy them without feeling bad.
Oh, because it's been stopping you?
I stopped. After Tucker Kraft, I gave up and now I'm back. But no, Romeo Doubs, man, like everyone was saying Christian Watson going to be the wide receiver 1, blah, blah, blah. But Doubs is the guy. Watson, obviously, freak athlete. He's going to be really good, but I think Doubs is going to come along and have a really good career in Green Bay. Watch, I jinxed it now. Next week he's going to ask for a trade or something, but knock on wood. But no, I love Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that you could make an argument that if you're talking about best overall wide receivers, Romeo Doubs is your number 1 on this team. And by the end of the season, Jaden Reed might have a case for number 2. Christian Watson is very fast. He's a very good fast wide receiver. He doesn't have a whole lot of tricks in the arsenal. He's just very fast. He's faster than a lot of other people.
The one thing to that, though, I would say is I don't think we have a chance. I think this year we'll start seeing some things with Watson, because last year we all said Rodgers will not throw to the middle of the field. If you look, like,
I hope so.
But the Dolphins use their fast players in the middle of the field. Like, we finally have a chance to do that. And then to go back to Doubs too, with the whole middle of the field thing, that's where he's been thriving. 71 of his like 133 yards, whatever it is, has been in the middle of the field, an area where we said we wanted to focus on. And he's been a key part of that. So getting Watson in there too, just that speed aspect, this offense is going to be fucking cooking. And I can't wait.
I hope so.
Take
Todd,
to the bank.
else?
I just said it.
Anything to add, Todd?
I really hate that Jimmy is talking like this after 16 games from Romeo Doubs.
Hey, it doesn't take much to convince me.
Like, this is your George Bush out on a fucking boat, out on a ship, mission accomplished. Like,
that's not mission accomplished. It's just saying he's going to be a good receiver. You don't think
curse broken? Curse is over. It's dead.
I did say that.
He had
I take
3
it back.
good games this year. Yay, go!
He was good. He was decent last year too, but now he's with the person he has a strong connection with. I'm with it. I stand by what I said.
Pickett's right. It was an aircraft carrier, Todd.
Yeah, grow the
Yeah,
fuck up.
I couldn't think of that in the moment because I was so mad at Jimmy for being an absolute moron.
No, you just want me to stay cursed. Don't act like you feel the same way about
Todd is
Dobbs.
rooting for the curse.
Yeah.
I'm not. I want all of these players to do well, which is why I don't buy jerseys anymore. Because the last 4 that I bought, Za'Darius and Bakhtiari, Devontae, and MVS. So after MVS, I went, you know what?
Well,
Let's
that's an
stop buying
MVS
jerseys.
thing. That's not a jersey thing. That's just an MVS as a human being thing. I forget I even have that jersey. I don't even know where it is right now after that stupid series we did with them. Don't put that in the jersey.
Don't act like you don't know where it's at. You have it over a body pillow that you sleep with at night. Well, MVS, what could have been?
I recorded one-word answers that I just ask it. Do you like this cuddle? Yes.
It's just like those little dog buttons. Just yes.
Yes. Yes.
I squeeze the hand.
Jimmy and his MVS doll.
MVS Build-A-Bear. All right. I'm going to buy a round for maybe the MVP of the game. That was yours truly, gentlemen.
All right.
Because as much as Todd wants to pull some stolen valor here about that field goal at the end of the game, I'd like to remind you what my name on Twitter is, and that's Daniel Master of the Elements Kotnick.
I thought
And that
you
is
were just an
because
Avatar fan.
I have the innate ability to, whenever I think about it,
Is this another one of those soaking things?
right up to leading right up to the field goal. Everyone's cheering. Everyone's and I was in the same end zone as you, Todd, except I was coming at it from the angle away from where the ball went. And right as where the ball gets snapped, I go, just real nice and easy. And that ball went far right. And I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take away from what happened on the field. But right when that ball was snapped, ball goes down, just a nice little. Thanks for playing.
Quick question. Why don't you do this every field goal?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the Force. You know, when they say, like, why doesn't Luke Skywalker use the Force every time? Because it's.
Okay, so I'm going to mute him. And
Yeah.
we've got Michelle in the chat here attesting to this awesome power. Dan legitimately just outed his own YouTube burner. Like, during. What are you doing? I'll unmute you now, unless you're going to talk about Star Wars.
That is my aunt, and she was a witness for the 2 field goals that I affected in that Vikings game last year.
My aunt used to tell me I could be an NFL player. Ants lie, so I don't trust her.
Lambeau, I think he was talking about Star Trek.
Can we stop bringing Harry Potter into these burns because this is a sacred movie?
Okay, for real though. I am buying around for Jordan Love this week. That's the most obvious one in the world, but
strain yourself on that one a bit.
I couldn't step away from this one. There were so many moments where he, as essentially you could say a rookie, he's a rookie starter, came up against situations where he easily could have gotten flustered. He could have made bad decisions.
He's a first-year starter.
He could have done all of these things wrong. Things, like you guys said, it really could not have gone any worse in the first half. And all that guy did was stand there in the pocket and keep making the reads that he was supposed to make and keep that offense moving. And eventually when it clicked, it fucking clicked, baby. And so big props to Jordan for doing that in a big time situation. Your first time at home, I'm sure completely amped up and just made a lot of people believe. So good job, Jordan.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see too in the second half or the fourth quarter when it started clicking. Like that really was him. Like we're down 17 points. It's him passing the ball. It's not, we didn't have Aaron Jones to rely on. Obviously, AJ Dillon. We've been shitting on AJ Dillon a lot. I felt this past game was actually a game where he ran, and Todd, you texted me too, so you can't shit on me right now. I felt like he ran.
Don't ever tell me when I can and can't shit on you. I will.
You'll Odell Beckham me whenever you want.
I will go against my own personal beliefs, benefits, morals, whatever I want to shit on you whenever I want. So don't.
That's fair. I take it back. I crossed the line. But AJ Dillon, I thought, didn't have that bad of a game. From all the stuff we were complaining about before, saying you're a big body, fucking run like it. He at least didn't fall behind the line of scrimmage. Like he tried to lower his shoulder a couple times. Like it wasn't his worst performance. It's trending in the right direction.
I mean, sort of, I guess. Like he ran. I'm just looking at it now. 11 carries for 33 yards. And it just seemed like
not great stats. I know, but
it just felt like we need to see there. It just he doesn't have that pop. Like I said last week, when he makes successful plays, they reach that minimum threshold. They don't go a lot. They don't really go anything farther. Jordan Love was the leading rusher for the Packers this past week.
But he had that long scamper on the sideline where he stayed in bounds. But
Yeah,
I think part of it too is right now we saw Aaron Jones week 1 kill it with a healthy offensive line. We haven't seen him behind this offensive line right now.
Look who we played.
And that's the thing too. Like this was actually a good defense. The Saints have a hell of a defensive line. And so like, yes, AJ Dillon did not have the best stats, but compared to the Falcons game, like I said, falling behind the line of scrimmage, not being that bruiser that we want, we don't need him to make splash plays when you have Aaron Jones. If he's going to keep lowering his shoulder, we're golden. We have Aaron Jones to do the fancy shit.
But the thing with Aaron Jones too is when he is in the game, you immediately have to think run or pass.
Mm-hmm.
They don't throw. They don't throw to AJ Dillon. They threw to Patrick Taylor. They threw to Emmanuel Wilson. Hell, they brought Keshawn Nixon in there to run and get offensive plays. Like he's very one-dimensional.
I was very aroused.
Yeah. I literally someone behind me called it. I was like,
you poked her a little bit.
Keshawn Nixon's in the game. Yeah, you feel a little what
the hell?
There's a log on my back.
Yeah, things need to change. I mean, AJ Dillon. We need Aaron Jones back. That'll help AJ Dillon. But hopefully, I mean, really, at a certain point, I think we need to start thinking about higher snap counts for Emmanuel Wilson and Patrick Taylor.
The Bucs made a splash trade today. Tomorrow, maybe, or Friday, maybe the Packers. We bring in Jonathan Taylor. It's a possibility.
Look, Emmanuel Wilson, I think that we still don't know what's there. Like we saw him tear it up in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Taylor is not any better than AJ Dillon. I think he's a step back in the run game. He can pass block a little bit better. I think as far as receiving goes, he's about the same there as well. I don't know that raising his snap count does anything but send a message to AJ Dillon that like you're not the guy, which I don't know how he responds to that message because I would assume by this point in the season he's already understood after the last couple of games he's not that guy. So I don't know. Like there's a lot of people that are high on Patrick Taylor, and I don't know I don't think he's any better. He doesn't. If the best attribute you have as a running back is pass blocking, like that's nice to have, but that's not special.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be on the 53 now. Like Joe said, his practice squad call-ups are done. So we'll see. Yeah, but I'm with Todd. I don't see increase in his snaps. He's a special teams guy. He gets chances when people get injured. That's about it.
All right. I think
maybe after saying we're going to destroy the Saints by 2 scores, you take this week off of spewing bullshit. All right.
Hey, I got the Saints part of that score correct.
Wow, good job.
And the win. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Thanks, Mr. Meatloaf. How about Pay the Tab? Jimmy, you want to kick us off with Pay the Tab?
Yeah, I'm going with someone that everyone loves to shit on, and it's going to be Royce Newman. Playing left guard, he's given up the most pressures on that offensive line, only playing the 4th most snaps for the offensive line. So not great numbers. Especially at the guard position, it's not like you're facing the premier edge rushers. Like Rasheed Walker, first-time starter these last 2 games. Holding his own, much better than Royce Newman, who's someone who has started a season in the NFL and is plugging in at left guard right now. I don't know if it's Sean Ryan time. Obviously, we don't know what we have in him. The Packers see him in practice every day, but that is a position where we need to possibly figure something out if Elton Jenkins' injury becomes a longer problem. So Royce Newman, serviceable for 3 games, 4 games at most. But after that, you're putting yourself in jeopardy, especially when you start playing some better teams. If he's there when we play Aaron Donald, Jordan Love might as well not play that game because he probably will get choked to death.
Like Jenkins, like he's got that circle. Like that's like if he
He'll
doesn't
ground Aaron Donald before it, be like, hey, if I'm out, you're out. You're not playing.
Yeah. As your father, you have to stay home. You didn't clean your room.
I was gonna say he pulls a Tommy Harding.
Smart.
Well,
if my knee's
Jenkins
bad,
would
your
never
knees.
do that.
I'd respect it, honestly.
No, I think Newman comes back after. Luckily, this early bye is going to help out things a ton, and then add on
can't hurt.
a little extra.
Don't say that. We're gonna have some weird bowling injury. The team goes bowling and someone gets hit with the ball.
Or what was this? Someone's got to know the famous pitcher that went on to the disabled list because he was playing Guitar Hero too much or something like that. Yeah, something like that. But I think Elton Jenkins comes back soon. Royce Newman, like you said, Jimmy, you can tolerate him for a little span here. Next couple of games, I think this week might be a little tougher than most, especially with Bach already out. But the Raiders next week, I think, hopefully you should be able to get by there. And then Elton Jenkins comes back after that. But yeah, there was a lot of times rewatching some of that Royce Newman film, especially watching the All-22 on some of those pass plays. And it's just like, what the fuck is Royce Newman doing? He's passing guys off to nobody. There's nobody there. He's just passing them off.
There's
Joel
that one
Zamaya. Thank you, Matt.
The All-22 where Royce Newman's guy just blows right by him, and thankfully Zach Tom blocked his defender into him. It just worked out perfectly, but yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, Katie was right to boo him when he was announced at Lambeau. Todd, who would you like to have pay the tab this week?
I'm gonna go with Rich Bisaccia. For as much love as he gets from everybody, this was really close to being a disastrous game for the special teams, which you might even want to classify that. I mean, they gave up a touchdown. They had 3 penalties on punt returns, and they had 2 punt returns where the ball was just on the ground and had guys running to it and standing around it instead of getting away. A touchdown, I won't put a touchdown on the coach. Like that, those things happen. But 3 penalties and then having guys undisciplined enough to be around a ball on the ground on a punt, that is coaching. And when you're a guy who you were brought in because you're a special teams guru, you're a genius at this stuff, and you can't even get your guys, which how many people on this team have we said, oh, he's here because he's a Richie B guy. He's a Bisaccia guy. Bisaccia loves this guy. Like, so you've got all these guys on special teams that you want here. You've been given the assistant head coach title as well. And this is still the shit that we're seeing about them. Like, do better.
What do you think's more cursed for the Packers, the 3rd round or special teams coach?
3rd round.
That's fair.
Yeah, definitely 3rd round. Amari Rodgers was never a special teams coach, just a special teams bust.
He played special teams, though. You don't know which one cursed him more.
Well, I haven't seen him play good special teams with other coaches either. So
he got double cursed by the Packers. He was extra fucked. That ruined his whole career.
I'm going to buy around, or I'm going to actually pay the tab here.
Yeah, because that's the segment we're in.
For Jordan Love.
Okay.
Little zigzag on you.
You doubled back.
Jordan Love, baby. You're at Lambeau for the very first time. And you scored your very first touchdown. You gotta get up in those stands. You gotta get up in the stands. Come on, man. You gotta make the jump. That is your first They even said, I went back and listened to the actual broadcast, and they said Jordan Love told us if he scores a rushing touchdown, he's gonna jump in the stands. And then it was him celebrating and running back for the play, which I understand.
Breaking news.
Now,
Jordan Love's a liar.
now
Just found that out.
he did. Gil's right. He had to go. He had to go run the 2-point conversion. I understand that. But you know what he did on the 2-point conversion? He threw the goddamn touchdown pass. Go jump in the motherfucking stands, baby.
No,
He
you-
threw 2-point conversion pass.
Come on.
Also, Matt, you know Dan's the edgelord. Of course, he's going to do something like that.
Okay, but seriously, my actual pay the tab. Katie mentioned it. The fucking penalties. Unacceptable at home to have that many penalties. Not just penalties, but unforced errors on offense. False start penalties, holding penalties.
Yeah.
You can't fucking do that at home. You just cannot have that happen. And the other side of the penalties coin, what the fuck was going on with all of these pass interference calls not being made? It was a mugging out there. I understand.
I was actually wondering if they changed that rule about the DB having to turn their head around. Like I tweeted it like a legit question. Like, is that still something? Because they would literally run this way, just right into the wide receiver, and nothing.
I don't want to see a flag on every play, but if it's ones that are these felt obvious, and they didn't get called until the very end, and it felt just kind of a it felt like it was a not intentional in the way of like trying to change the outcome, but intentional of we're going to let it play early and then call it later on in the game.
Yeah, I don't know.
If there's one thing I know about Saints games, it's that the refs are probably not going to have any clue what pass interference is. So you just got to kind of roll with whatever's happening.
The refs are in debt. I think they have to just let pass interference go that they do for probably a few more years to make up for that Rams game.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that just really bugged me. A lot of things on both sides. Yeah, and then talking about and then having to listen back again to the actual broadcast, listening to Jonathan Vilma just pleasure himself to all of the pass coverage that wasn't getting called. It was really fun to listen to.
I don't know if a Packer ever gets into the booth. I hope they are 100% biased for the Packers.
I hope it's like listening to Larry McCarron, baby.
That's the thing, is that really doesn't bother me. Like if you played for a team, like of course you're gonna be a little biased. I don't know,
but
I don't
okay.
really give a shit.
Here's the thing. I watched the condensed highlights of the game, and so I'm watching like basically every major play, every goddamn play. It was whoever the play, I forget who the play-by-play was. And then it's Jonathan Vilma. Oh. Ooh. Oh.
It's
like,
his team, man. You got to let
Matt,
him.
clip that.
No,
Matt, clip that.
Anything. Packer makes a catch, and it was Kenny Albert. What a great catch by Jaden Reed. Whoa. What? Add something, Jonathan. Earn your paycheck.
Everyone needs a sound effect guy, and that's what he was.
All right. So, big win against the Saints. I think there was a lot of good things, a lot of really bad things. Can't take it very, too high, too low, because tomorrow night the Lions come to town. Thursday night, short week, which is thankfully we're getting it here at home.
I heard that too.
Okay.
How are we feeling, guys? How are we feeling about the Lions coming in?
Not great, Dan. Just when's the last time we beat these fuckheads?
It was they're on a current 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, me either.
Even before that, like we haven't played the Lions well. Like I know we were on like a 20-game win streak against them, and even that it felt like a lot of those.
I think it was a 20-game win streak at Lambeau for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just I don't know. We always play them tough, or they always play us tough. It's always a weird game. And I mean, just going back to late last season, like we had something to play for. They didn't. They still came into Lambeau and kicked our ass. I would hope that this team remembers that and goes back out there with a little bit of fight. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think it's a different story if Watson and Jones are in there, as well as Ja. But if the inactives list looks the same as it did last week, I think it'll be a long game.
Well, Bakhtiari and Devondre Campbell are both ruled out already for tomorrow.
Jenkins
said there was
too.
a third. It was Jenkins. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, honestly, for me, if I had the choice, and you said let's say out of these 4 players, the 2 Watson, Jones, Bach, and Jair. If you said you can only start 2 of them, you can guarantee to have 2 of them. For me, it's not Watson and Jones. It's Bach and Jair. I want someone protecting that blind side against Aiden Hutchinson, and I need someone guarding Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is going to be a game that relies heavily, I think, again, on our defensive line, because this offensive line for the Lions, they're getting healthier and they're becoming one of the better ones in the league. And so this newfangled defensive line that is becoming one of the better ones in football needs to prove that against some of the better competition, they can hang. They can cause trouble. So I think that's going to be the real key, is this defensive line needs to get in Jared Goff's face continuously to help out the rest of this team.
Yeah. I even looking at that offensive line, though, for us, it's at what point are we going to see a team just blitz the shit out of us? Because we saw against the Falcons, like Walker completely missed a blitz, turned into a easy sack on Jordan Love. Now you have Royce Newman there as well. You have Hutchinson on that side. We saw Love, the Chiefs. That was their strategy. Blitz, blitz, blitz. Get as much pressure as you can on Love. Right now, like inexperienced left side of the ball. I know he's 3 games in, but still inexperienced quarterback. Just pressure the shit out of him. And blitzing is going to be the way to do it, especially on that left side. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do that. I know they're getting a little bit healthier on the offensive or defensive line for the Lions. They have that rookie that linebacker they took in the first round, Jack Campbell or whatever the fuck his name is. So seeing if they utilize that and just, I don't know. You think it's going to be an offensive battle with the way that the Packers played in the fourth quarter, the 3 quarters against the Saints. Ben Johnson for the Lions is a mastermind on calling plays. I think it's going to be come down to what defense can make a splash play. And if they're able to get pressure on Love, it could definitely be them. But as you said, our defensive line has shown that it has potential to be one of the best ones in the NFL, or better ones in the NFL. And if we're able to do that as well, it could be, I don't know. This game, I'm honestly just 50-50 on. And if we do predictions, I'm just going to cop out and say it's going to end in a tie, because I really have no fucking clue.
Yeah, it's going to be, going back to what you said, Dan, like pick 2 out of that. Walker's been holding up, but I know there's been some issues there, but I think, even if they decide to blitz and it's Bakhtiari, he's essentially on an island if he's got Royce Newman next to him and then Josh Myers next to him. Like, that's okay. So you just make Bakhtiari chase the edge rusher out wide and blitz in the middle there. And
but that's fine. I'll take.
But you're gonna watch. At that point, you're just gonna watch Newman and Myers hold hands and hug because they're terrified of the guys running past them in white jerseys. You give me an option out of those 2. Give me Jones and Ja. Just like you said, I think having Ja in that secondary is huge, and having Jones back gives this team a legitimate running threat. And lets them operate at a higher level.
I'm a Todd. I hate it, but I'm a Todd. God damn it.
I get your
my other biggest thing here is I'm afraid that this is going to be the Jahmyr Gibbs breakout game, because listening listening to Detroit radio, last couple of days, they interview Dan Campbell, they interview Jared Goff, and they keep saying is it's time to give Gibbs more of the ball. David Montgomery is questionable. They keep talking about they want to give him more of the ball. What better time to give him?
You're struggling talking today. I'm so sorry.
It's so bad. It's so bad. My nose is
Kelsey,
so bad.
go check on Dan. I think he's having a stroke.
You drank a lot of cough syrup.
But what better opportunity to give him the breakout game than against your division rival on the road when they haven't seen much of his film yet? You know what I mean? This is the time to let him loose, and I'm afraid that this is going to be the story from this game.
Yeah, it's
wow, ballsy call there, Dan. I think that their running back might have a good game against the Packers. Jeez, go out on a limb, would you?
But like to counter that, even without Watson, say can't play. I know he's questionable, but our receivers should be able to torch their secondary. So like it's gonna their run game might outdo ours, but our receivers against their secondary should be a giant mismatch. The way we've been playing these first these first 3 games, like they don't have anyone that great in the secondary. Gardner Johnson's out for the year most likely with the pec injury. Like they have Sutton from the Steelers, but still,
you just got to make sure he's got time.
Yeah, but as Lambeau said in the chat, there's ways around the fucking pressure. It's getting the ball out quick. So
yeah, it's like you guys said, it's a toss up. This is maybe the most toss up game that I've felt coming in, and maybe this is really kind of fucked up to think about, but literally listening to the afternoon guys talk yesterday, the one guy was asking the question like, "Are you scared of Jordan Love?" And they were like, "I'm not sure. I don't know." And they were like, someone said, "Are we more scared of the uniform than Jordan Love?" And they're like, "Yeah, like maybe it's PTSD." I'm starting to feel PTSD about playing the Lions, where it's hard to read how good of a team are they, how big of a threat are they, because they've been so successful against us that I'm starting to just be wary about that uniform, playing that uniform,
I don't know. They got to prove it a little bit more. Like they always play us tough, but it's a division match. They're facing a new offense that they faced last year that they handled us on. And like when they beat us last year, especially that last game, the first game they beat us was the start of their mojo run. The last game they went on a complete fucking tear. It's not like they just beat us at the end of the year. They won like 7 out of 8 games. So they had a lot of teams' numbers for some reason. They had this weird motivation.
Honestly.
Yeah, but no one, like you watch the Lions, it felt different. A team was coming together. With the Packers, it was like, let's hope they can squeak by. Let's concuss the quarterback so we can win on Christmas. Like that's like I don't know. There's really not like the Packers weren't that great at the end of the year. A battle though that I am looking forward to is Musgrave and Laporta, 2 rookie tight ends. Laporta has like 180 yards receiving. Musgrave has over 100. He should have more. If we can finally connect on a deep ball to Musgrave this week, I'm going to be fucking thrilled because there's 2 of them that have been missed. Week 1 last week in that middle of the field, just wide fucking open. If we can get that connection going, it's going to add, that also is going to add a new element. Like right now he's great in the mid-range short game, but we got a freak athlete for a reason of a deep shot. And right now we're not connecting with him. So I'm hoping that finally goes.
Do you think we connect on that before we throw an interception on that? Because I feel like it's one of those things where like
50-50
event like there's usually safeties back there crashing in somewhere, and it's only a matter of time before a safety baits Love into that throw and just crashes.
I think it's more likely he connects than he gets an interception on it, because when you watch the ones that he's missed, they're wide open. Like they're
but the ball's not close.
I know, but they're getting schemed open, and he doesn't really miss like off to his side or anything. He's missing high. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't feel as worried about that.
Jeremy makes a great point. We do need Musgrave to stay on his feet. I feel like every time he catches the ball, he has to touch the ground, not to fall. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's moving too fast
Well,
for his brain to handle.
I think part of that too comes into a lot of Jordan Love's accuracy. If you watch, and like even on a lot of his completions, he's behind a guy making somebody adjust or stop and not catch it in motion, or he's just leading them a little bit too far to where they've got to throw their balance off reaching out to get it. And I think a lot of them for Musgrave is when he's got to stop and start and then go and turn. Like for a dude that size, that's a lot of movement to try and get going. So I think if he can get hit in stride and not have to turn, it'll be fine. But that's a big if.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are you worried about that with Love? Like, do you think that's something that's going to just progress and get better with that connection on those? Because there's a couple plays last week too, even like a Romeo Dobb connection that he had to kind of slow down and reach behind him, a Jaden Reed one too. Like, do you think that eventually changes, or is that just kind of where we are with how his accuracy is just going to be?
I don't think it's going to get a lot better. I mean, he's been in the league now for 3 years. Like he's had time to work on his footwork, work on his accuracy. And we see a lot of his throws are off platform. So your footwork's not going to matter on those. Some of it'll get better as he feels out these guys a little bit more and gets the timing down with them. I think that's part of it. Is there's just been so many guys throughout camp that he's been working with that once you get the core 4 or 5 receivers that he's going to be throwing the ball to regularly, that he can get through, the more reps he gets with them, understands what his speed is coming across the field, how much he can lead this guy versus that guy. We might see a difference there, but overall, we've also been spoiled watching Aaron Rodgers, one of the most accurate guys that there's ever been. Talk about fitting it in a perfect window just at the perfect time. So, this is like, this is what it's like for other teams to watch a quarterback play who's not one of the greatest to ever do it.
So do you think if you had to put it on right now, more of an accuracy, would you put it more on accuracy than timing? Like if you had to put it, which one's the bigger problem or culprit, you should say?
I don't know that there's a difference or that it matters on that one. I think it's just, like I said, right now, I think a lot of it is just not knowing how to lead one guy versus the next.
Yeah. I do think it will improve a little bit. Just because, it's one thing to take snaps in the preseason. It's one thing to take a bunch of snaps in practice. It's another when, you're at Lambeau for the first time and you're down 17-0 and you're, it's different to be in those kind of situations when the games count and you're having to make sure that everything is clicking right and you're making that precise throw. I think as he gets more comfortable and more used to that, I think that will improve. I don't think we're never going to see him be like Aaron Rodgers again. That's like Todd said, we've been spoiled on that. We're never going to see that again. We can't ever expect that out of him. But I do think it will improve because it's clear that Jordan Love is he's a student of the game. He cares about this. He really is a guy that focuses on, being a fundamental good passer. So I think it will improve. And I always recommend the QB School with JT O'Sullivan and watch his film breakdown. And he said, it's just a couple things, man, where if he can make this click, it's going to get special. I think when he gets more comfortable, I think it'll fit. I think it'll find it. He'll find it.
If we can get 3 back-to-back Hall of Famers, I will piss myself.
I honestly, as much as I would love to see Jordan Love in the Hall of Fame at one point, even if he is just Matt Stafford back there,
Just be good. Yeah,
I will
that's
be
it.
so
Be good.
fucking happy. I will be
Yeah.
and I will be insufferable for
That's the
anyone
thing.
else.
Yeah, Hall of Fame was a bad thing. Just
Yeah.
3 franchise quarterbacks in a row is just, yeah. I'll be putting a log on someone like you did at Lambeau.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's hit some bar bets here, guys, and get out of here. I realized as we were like getting ready for this that my first 2 bar bets are completely reliant on players who aren't even confirmed to be playing yet, which is Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. But I have a feeling we're gonna use this as putting it out in the ether that it's good vibes here to talk about. So let's say Aaron Jones here, over under 125 total yards from scrimmage here. Jim, you want to start us off?
I'm going to go under. We saw a lot of his yards came from 2 big splash plays against the Bears. I don't think the Lions defense is I should rephrase that. I know for a fact the Lions defense is not as bad as the Bears defense. So I think he will have some splash plays here and there, be a consistent part of the offense, but I don't think he'll have those huge gainers like he did against the Bears to drive that number up. So I'm going to go under 3 box yards.
Todd?
Under 5 Bakhtiaris. I think if he plays, he's going to be on a snap count. So even if he does have, a couple big plays, I don't think that that's going to put him over the top on that.
Okay, I guess I kind of cooled on this a little bit. I'll go under 2. I'll
No,
go
go over. Go over.
Hey, Jimmy, shut up. I'll go 4 Bakhtiaris. I'll go under as well. Let me ask you though, just what's a more realistic over under you would put for him? 75?
To 80?
80?
Yeah, I honestly, 80. I'd definitely go. I would do over for sure. I guess he gets around 90 yards.
So getting close to 100, but doesn't break the 100-yard mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Todd said,
right.
I think there will be a snap count.
Okay. Christian Watson, 75 passing yards, over or
Why don't
under?
you go first on this one, Dan?
Okay, I'll go over. I don't care if you guys cool. I'm gonna say there's at least one big play here from Christian Watson, because like somebody mentioned, the way that this offense is different. You hit it up the middle. There's going to be much more of a just opportunities here for Christian Watson than just a thing. And also the Lions are the worst graded defense against the play action pass.
Cool.
So they are the worst defense against the thing that Jordan Love loves to do most, and he could finally have his big home run target just waiting for him in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, great. Gil picked
Over.
up on why I was having you go ahead. I'm going to go under because it says 75 passing yards, and I don't think Christian Watson's going to throw the ball.
Come on. Just
going by what the sheet says, man.
I'm going to follow Todd on that one.
5 Bakhtiari's under. He's not going to have 75 yards passing.
You fucking watch. They run the first play, they run their little trick play on like 4th down or something.
Yeah,
He's got AJ Dillon wide open down the field.
Do you think we do another trick play? We did the flea flicker, we did the pass back, and
he's going to do something. He's going to do something.
Even week 1, we did that fucking weird triple option. So
yeah. He Matt is in his fucking bag, man. He won. This is the kind of shit you're not going to do with Aaron Rodgers. He won't fucking do this stuff. This is the kind of stuff we were missing. It's fun. It's fucking fun to watch this team again.
Do you think LaFleur gets petty as fuck, and when we get like on the 1-yard line, does a pass to Rasheed Walker to score a touchdown? Because last year we couldn't do it to Bach.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I'm like, is that going to be the play? Is that going to be the weird play that they try to run?
Dude, that'd be fantastic. I'm gonna follow you though, Dan. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go 3 Bakhtiaris. I think there'll be a splash play. And actually, fuck it, I'll go 5 Bakhtiaris on that one. I think there'll be a splash play, and I think LaFleur will probably try to get Watson involved quickly, trying to get him up to speed, that confidence going. Because we saw against the Cowboys last year, once he got that confidence up, he was unfucking stoppable that game. So I think they'll try to pepper him in, get him comfortable, and then maybe settle into the offense a bit more.
Yeah, I like what
Todd,
you thought. I like what your thoughts at, Jimmy. Todd already said, right?
Are you actually going under?
He's not throwing the ball.
Okay, let's say we change it to receiving. Then what would you say?
Are we changing it to receiving?
Yes.
Damn.
Christ almighty.
Five Bakhtiaris. I'm still going to take the under. Just we haven't seen Love connect on one of these deep balls yet to hit a guy in stride. It's been a while since they've even practiced together. I would assume at full speed. I'm going to say under. They're going to get him the ball on some stuff to get him open, but
you know what's going to fucking happen.
That little shovel pass forward.
No. The very first play, they're going to run a nice play action. It's going to crack Watson wide open down the field, and it'll be a 65-yard pass interference play to Christian Watson. And he'll move the ball down the field, but it'll count for a dick toward his receiving yards. That is exactly what's going to happen.
We'll count it this time.
I said 5 over, Matt, 5 over for mine. Okay, so this one, it's a combined stat here. Total sacks in the game. So this is sacks on between both defenses, because I feel like there's a high probability for sacks on both sides. So I didn't want to focus on one or the other. I put this at over under 6 total sacks in the game. Where do you guys fall? Jimmy, you want to start us off on this one?
I don't, but I will. Fuck, you picked a good number. I'm gonna go under. I think the Packers will adjust on the offensive line, and Love has been pretty good. I know he's taken a couple sacks, but he's been pretty good at getting the ball out and having that clock in his head, and even moving and scrambling. So I'll go under. I think we'll apply pressure. But even last week, if we didn't have Rashawn getting 3 sacks, like what was it? Kenny had the other one. There wasn't that much there. I'll go under 2 Bakhtiaris.
All right. Todd?
5 Bakhtiaris over. I think Jared Goff, bit of a statue back there. I think a key to what this defense is going to do, especially if Ja isn't at 100% or can't go at all, they're going to have to create pressure. They're going to have to get in the backfield and hit Jared Goff. And then I think the Packers, Aiden Hutchinson's going to get his. It's what he does at this point, especially against the offensive line that the Packers are going to trot out there. So, I'm confident saying over on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to sit with Todd on this one and say over, especially because it being a Thursday night game, offensive lines beaten up, tired. Yes, everyone's tired, but offensive line, I feel like, is that one of those positions where you are literally being hit by a brick. You're being hit by a car every play as an offensive lineman, and to do that again, I just think you probably lose a little half step there. And against the pass rush that both of these teams bring, I just feel like it's really setting up for an ugly kind of game in that sense. So I'll go over. Not as confident. I'll only go 3 Bakhtiaris on this one, but I will say over as
Coward.
Well. I am a coward.
You are correct.
You are correct, sir. Thank you to everyone that stopped by, joined us in the chat. Hopefully shout out everyone that did stop by. Thank you for doing so. We really appreciate you doing it every single week. Make sure you share and like us with all your friends. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to all of our socials on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of that fun stuff. You can follow all 3 of us on social media as well, right there on our little handles in the bubble. For producer Matt, back there hanging out, for Jimmy, for Todd, bartender Dan, saying cheers, everybody. We'll see you next week. We'll also see you post-game. Make sure you stick around after the post-game on Thursday. Tomorrow night, for the post game show here on the Game On Wisconsin YouTube channel. But until then, everyone, cheers and go Pack Go.